It took a while for me to get
sometimes. I got the Wonder Woman Greg Rucka trade because your art's in it, Shane. Because I wasn't going to support Greg
My
Rucka.
art's not in it. Yeah. I only drew one issue.
You drew one issue. Yeah, it is. Your art is in it. I have it.
Yeah. I wouldn't
count. It's like I only drew one issue, so my art isn't in it. Yes, it is.
I wouldn't count that. All
right. Well, I got it for that, Shane, so I was trying to be nice. All right.
Shane's disavowing that job.
What was this? Greg Rucka wrote something?
Story behind that.
Is it? Oh, shit, really?
Story time with Shane Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg Rucka was something else, man.
No, there was a character in there. He's like, can you draw this young Amazonian girl? She has to look just the age of consent. And I'm like, you
shit.
Like, that was in the script. I was like, holy fuck.
Ooh.
You know,
Rucka's son is an active Antifa guy who actually has gone out there and gotten
but you're looking past Greg Rucka's a piece of shit. Let's not get past that point.
Okay, you're right.
I mean, you want to say more about that? I mean, that's something else.
I mean, you're living out some type of fucking sick fantasy when you type that shit out, tickle your keyboard, and hand it to another grown man to draw. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand when you say just past the age of consent, like if we're in our 20s, our early 20s, like maybe that's cool. We're like closing in on 50. So to me, I'm sorry. Like I understand that people get mad at me for saying stuff like this. 18, 19, 20-year-old girls are children.
They are. It's gross.
Kids. You know, I mean, I understand they're technically legal, but you know, to me, what's the difference between at that point, what's the difference between 18 and 17? It's like one's legal, one isn't. They're kids. They're all children to us.
Well, it's also a weird way to write it in the script. Just say the age. You don't have to say the age of consent.
Who's thinking that?
Yeah, when you write it that way, it already
barely legal.
It sounds twisted. Yeah.
It's like you're sending the page back. It's like, hey, Greg, does she look just old enough for you?
Yeah,
Now I wish I didn't buy that, Shane. Why'd you have to tell me that? God damn it.
That's creepy. What does it look like? Now pull it up and let me see. I want to see what Shane drew.
It was a really, really bad issue. I'm not really wanting to go down that. It was a lot of redraws. It was not my best work because he kept changing his script after I would draw it. And I'd have to redraw pages over and over again. It was just a fucking prick to work with.
I famously, Ron Garney reminded me, or Ron Garney, I'm sorry, what's his name?
Yeah. Greg Rucka
reminded me of this. He was making fun of having almost worked with me on Twitter. And he had this book called Amazon's Attack.
Can we first stop? Let's just first explain everybody. Greg Rucka is an overrated piece of shit.
Yeah, his writing sucks.
What the fuck did he ever write that anybody gives a shit about? Gotham Central? He co-wrote that with Ed Brubaker.
Brubaker was the talent behind that. And if you look at... I'm big into Brubaker. I think he's one of the most talented guys ever to exist in the industry. And if you look at the issues that Brubaker wrote, they're beautiful noir, crime detective things. If you look at the ones Rucka wrote, it's... I'm a lesbian and I hope my parents don't find out. They're going to be so upset. It's really cringy. And you could tell which ones are his and which ones are Brubaker 100%.
I just don't want anybody in the chat who doesn't know who Greg Rucka is to pretend he's a talented fucking writer. Let's first just say he's not, and then we go forward.
Why would they do that? Why would they pretend?
Because a lot of people here don't know half these guys we're talking about sometimes. Some do, some don't. And I don't want people to think he was a prestige writer. It's like, nah.
Well, Rucka also, doesn't he writes novels and stuff, so he kind of has that. That's why people think he's a writer's writer.
Interesting. Yeah, Rucka is, first of all, I got invited to do this book called Amazon's Attack with Greg Rucka. It was Greg wanted me to write or to draw it with him. And Dan DiDio was like, yeah, you should do this. This was back in 2004. And I got the proposal. And no, it was in 2005 or 6. It was after I was done with Green Lantern Rebirth. Anyway, I got the proposal. And Greg Rucka had this sequence in which the Amazons, women on flying horses, were going to take down the United States of America because it was evil, because George Bush was president. and declared an illegal war. And there was a scene that he wanted me to draw. He said, Ethan, you're going to love this. These women on horseback force Air Force One down, like flying horses, Pegasuses, and they walk into Air Force One, and Bush is there like, oh no, and they put a knife to it, they put a sword to his throat, so we demand the United States surrender. And Bush says, the United States hereby surrenders. Isn't that fucking awesome? And I went, fuck you. And I'm not drawing this book. And that's when I walked off of that project. And thank God that I did, because that book was an enormous bomb, an enormous failure, widely considered to be. I saw a CBR list of the worst DC projects of the last 20 years, and that was number one.
Did that scene make it in the book?
I think so.
Greg Rucka fired Frank Cho, remember, for a fucking cover.
That was right. Oh my God.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Like,
I want crimes is like, it's pretty big. I mean, Greg has done a lot of fucked up stuff. Like, the other thing that he did, this isn't, it's not fucked up, it's just kind of sad. Like, I remember me and Rags Morales were really kind of pretty close friends around the early 2000s. And so we're following each other's career. The reason why we became friends was because he was assigned to do Hal Jordan Rebirth, and I was assigned to do Identity Crisis, and they did a switcheroo. And he got Identity Crisis, and I got Green Lantern Rebirth, and it blew up both of our careers. His job following Identity Crisis was Wonder Woman. And he said, I draw women. I love drawing beautiful women. My Wonder Woman pages, Ethan, the original art. And I think he owed some back taxes at the time. Not talking out of school, but, you know, everybody falls into that problem every now and then. So he was hoping to sell the original art and really pay off his tax debt. He was looking forward to it. He thought this was like, his career was like booming. It was right in the spot. So Greg Rucka's writing his Wonder Woman story arc, 6 issues by Rags Morales, who was red hot off of Identity Crisis. And the issue before Rags comes on, Wonder Woman is blinded in both of her eyes. And so he comes on, and for his 6 issues, Wonder Woman is wearing a rag around her face for the entire 6-issue run. You want to talk about... I now, to be fair, I laughed at Rags. I went, nobody's going to buy that artwork, dude. You quit that job. Do not draw that book. Quit that. He's like, I already said I would do it. I got to do it. And he got stuck with 6 issues worth of original art of Wonder Woman with a rag over her face.
Oh, that's a shame.
Now, Rags told me to go fuck myself because I'm Comicsgate. But if I was a buddy, I would have told him, if I could go back in time, is to draw stats of the rag. That way his artwork wouldn't be fucked up.
Well, that's true, yeah. You could just say, please put this over her eyes. And I'm going to draw
on another board. He could have. I'm not saying he didn't think that through, but he could have saved his original artwork.
Yeah.